I'm showing you the Beatles soundtracks, solo and band members. And this is inspired and dedicated to Eddie's physical media channel, media conversation channel. Eddie is a vinyl community poster, 100 sub contests. He's at about 150 now, but he's had a rebirth. He had another channel and he's kind of morphed into some prog and psychedelic and some cool stuff. And I've been on some live streams with him, and he's just an overall gent of a fellow, a good guy. But he's doing this contest show, 5 your favorite soundtracks. Now, I've done variations of this showing amongst my favorite soundtracks, so I'm doing something completely different. So, Eddie, this is inspired by you. It's on behalf. There's a link below. I urge you to go subscribe, support the other channels out here. I think that's a wonderful thing. But this gave me an idea to do the Beatles soundtrack, the group and solo. Now, I even thought of a deeper dive. So I'm not doing 5, so that's off the table right now, but I'll go fairly quickly. I want in the future to do a deeper dive, so I'm not doing the Beatle kind of projects that aren't actually the Beatles, like Sgt. Pepper with the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton, that debacle, or I'm not doing Across the Universe, the Julie Taymor film, which actually I like, and I like that soundtrack produced and arranged by T-Bone Burnett. I mean, there's so many movies. Yesterday. There's so many movies in the history of Beatles. I Want to Hold Your Hand, the Spielberg-produced film from the 80s, directed by, the guy that did all the sci-fi stuff, did Back to the Future movies. Zemeckis, I think he directed that. I have so many, Backbeat. There's 2 of those. There's a music and the score. That's a whole other thing. But I have tons of CDs. There was a period of time where anything related to a Beatles soundtrack or a Beatles thing I have. And maybe someday I'll do an expanded thing. But I'm sticking to the band, the core band, and the solo projects now. If I miss something, I might have missed something. And as I'm looking right here as I see something. But let's just take it one at a time and just go through it fairly quickly. Obviously, Hard Day's Night. In America, we actually had a soundtrack, original soundtrack. In the UK, which is the full band album, Hard Day's Night has all different songs. I think side 1 was from the soundtrack, from the film, and then side 2 was not. In America, and I actually like this. It has songs arranged by George Martin, soundtracks, of course, and I Love Her instrumental, and I Should Have Known Better instrumental. Of course, Ringo's theme, This Boy, so Hard Day's Night. The American one, I actually like the mix of soundtracks with that. And of course, another one that I've showcased that I like, opening with that semi-James Bond kind of lead guitar, that was like a interplay of James Bond for the motion picture Help. Martin did not do this, and he got bumped, and Ken Thorne did the score. I love this because not only has the great Beatles songs, but it has some great classical thing, a Wagner prelude to Lohengrin, Act 3. It's got some great Indian musicians kind of take on A Hard Day's Night on here. But this is a fantastic American-only comp. Some think I want just the Beatles, but growing up with this is a fun record, and of course, an amazing original soundtrack. The Beatles Magic Music Tour, obviously in the UK, this was only an EP with only the songs from the show that was shown on Boxing Day in the UK in black and white, no less. Their biggest failure, their first big failure maybe, but musically obviously not. This is the American and then the rest of the world subsequent edition that has become canon in the Beatles catalog. And obviously it has those great singles. Probably their most psychedelic album. Has all the great singles on side B, like Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, etc. And All You Need Is Love. What a great soundtrack. Love this. And I should have shown the Horzu, the German version, which is the best sounding version ever. And I'm looking up here and it's not in my immediately grasp area. So there we go. Yellow Submarine. Now, some people like to slag this off. What a great album. And I absolutely enjoy side 2, the George Martin score. So, in fact, there is another orchestra that released about 5 years ago, an LP of George Martin scores, and includes the Yellow Submarine score. And it's just really fantastic. I didn't show that because that's not what this particular video is about. But this is really great. Now, This isn't a soundtrack per se, but since I showed that, someone's going to say, you didn't show the song track. This is when they reissued, remastered Yellow Submarine. And this is a great, they remixed these songs. And this is a great sounding record. And this loses the George Martin score, unfortunately. Okay, I get it. People want to hear just the Beatles, but this is amazing sounding, and it has all the songs that were in Yellow Submarine. So I just really enjoy this. I like this remix. I wish the Giles Martin remixes sounded like this. I think the direction taken here is far superior from my point of view. Of course, Let It Be, and obviously know now the Get Back, Peter Jackson documentary, expanded Get Back, but Let It Be, obviously the original, except no substitute. Beatles are splitting up. Michael Lindsay Hogg directed a film that we all thought they looked tired and depressing and worn, but I like this record. Phil Spector remixed the tapes. I like these versions. Everyone likes to say, okay, Phil did too much and Long and Windy Road and put all this stuff on, but actually, I like the sound of this record, so Let It Be, obviously 1970. The End, but not the end. You all know that story, and if you don't, Abbey Road was actually the final Beatle album recorded. This is the last Beatle album released. And then we have just a weird comp that came out, and this is Real Music, R-E-E-L, that has just a lot of songs from the movies. Hard Day's Night, Should Known Better, Can't Buy Me Love, and I Love Her, Help, You Got to Hide Your Love Away, Ticket to Ride, Magic Mystery Tour, I Am the Walrus, Yellow Submarine, All You Need Is Love, Let It Be, Get Back, and The Long and Winding Road. Kind of a silly, unnecessary comp that came out in the 1982, and I Should Have Known Better. See what I did there? The Beatles. Real music. The Ron Howard directed film of 8 Days a Week, the touring years. You know, this is fun to watch. I don't think it was really well done. When you went to see it in the theater, they showed the entire remastered Shea Stadium, which still hasn't been released, and that was kind of nice. So, of course, it's the Beatles. I like it. You know, they go through the whole history of the Beatles for 10 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes. Then it goes into the concert years. I mean, it's always great to see Beatle footage. This is the Hollywood Bowl, the expanded Hollywood Bowl live record that was going to be, back in the day, George Martin recording of a live Beatle record. Never saw the light of day until 1977 when that came out. But this is the official LP soundtrack to that motion picture. John Lennon, let's go solo now. John Lennon live in New York City. This is the Madison Square Garden show. The one-to-one concert was the video. Not on video anymore, not on DVD. We hope it comes out maybe because we're in 50 years. Was this, around the time of Sometime in New York with the Elephant Memory Band, a band I don't care for as a backup band to John Lennon. I thought they were really sloppy. It's really unfortunate. We don't really have a lot of live Lennon from this period. I wish he had a better backup band, but a cool record nonetheless. Now this is a great comp, and this is an interesting comp. This is a soundtrack, Imagine, documentary Yoko put together with Andrew Solt directed it, combined it, and it has a demo. The first time I think we heard, demo of Real Love that the Beatles would later use with the Threedles on the 95 Anthology. I did not pull the Anthology. Silly me. I need to pull that before we close out here. See? Sense memory. What's nice about this is a really good sounding record. The mixes are great. The mastering's great. As I recall, Day in the Life is one of the few versions you get with the clean intro, not the fade from the previous song from Sgt. Pepper, like on the Pepper album. And it's nice to have that acoustic guitar full intro. But of course, it mixes solo. This is like a best of Lennon, including best of Beatles and Lennon. So highly recommended if you see this in the wild, pick it up because it does sound really good. McCartney started his first venture into soundtracks is The Family Way, a movie with Haley Mills and Hewell Bennett and John Wills, of course, father of Haley Mills. always had a crush on Haley Mills. We all did, right? The Parent Trap, remember that? Yeah, and orchestration's arranged by George Martin, of course. So most likely he wrote the melodies, and George Martin wrote the score. This has been reissued. This is like a 70s UK release, imported version that I have. Very clean deck of records. Kind of a cool thing to have if you're a completist with the Beatles. Of course, we also have the biggest debacle in Beatle history is Give My Regards to Broad Street, the self-indulgent Paul McCartney film project recreating some of the Beatles songs and his own solo songs, and not a very good film at all, and kind of like leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Occasionally I'll put this on, but then I realize how bad it is. I mean, it's interesting because you hear Paul playing and singing and reimagining some of his music with the beautiful scores of George Martin. Of course, Wonderwall, to me, this is one of my top 3 George Harrison records of all time. I didn't see the film 2 years later, but second to that, I mean, primarily, this is an amazing soundtrack. A mix of Western and Indian music, some great guitar licks of Eric Clapton on here, but a fantastic record. Of course, Wonderwall would be the name of a future song by the Manchester band Oasis. But I adore this record. This one of those early records that got me into world music. Just a stupendous album. This is a soundtrack of sorts, Volume 1, and there's never a Volume 2 of the documentary Martin Scorsese put together. It's not really called a documentary, but it talks about the making of Martin Scorsese's George Harrison Living the Material World. Basically a companion piece. Concert for George Harrison, obviously the great Royal Albert Hall tribute, assembled and curated by Eric Clapton for George Harrison at the Royal Albert Hall. This is fantastic. You know, the 1995 Anthology, it was a documentary, so there were 3 record LP sets and double CDs that came out, Volume 1, 2, 3, going through the vaults and giving us outtakes and works in progress, alternate versions. Now, my only criticism of Volume 1, I wish they didn't put any of the live concert stuff. It kind of breaks up the mood of this. I think it would have been great to have a separate, maybe double album of the live tracks. But of course, Klaus Voormann did this 3-panel cover, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. And they kind of go together if you stick them together like a wall mural. So that's it, Eddie, physical vinyl format, physical music format, link below. That's the Beatles soundtracks, As He Loves You.